Loyalty. Our story goes back to the days when King Gokhale ruled Vidarbh. Gokhale was not only a great warrior, but he was a wise and just ruler, and so the kingdom was both peaceful and prosperous. One day the king, accompanied by some of his nobles, set out on a tiger hunt in the forest that bordered the north of the city. As was his wont, the king rode at a furious pace and soon left his companions far behind. Coming to a dense part of the forest, the king slackened his speed, and then he caught sight of huge tigers stalking through the underbrush. Quickly dismounting, the king fitted an arrow to his bow and aimed to hit the massive beast just behind the shoulder. Unluckily, the arrow failed to strike a vital spot, and with an angry roar, the enraged tiger bounded fate for the king. With no time to fire a second arrow, the king made a frantic effort to draw his sword. Then, just as the tiger prepared to leap, a man armed with an axe came rushing out of the thicket, and before the tiger could turn on this new enemy, the man dealt the tiger a terrific blow with his axe, killing the beast on the spot. "Good, good," exclaimed the king. "I certainly owe my life to you. But tell me, who are you?" "I am Ram Sharma, a poor Brahmin," the man replied quietly. "One managed to make a living by cutting and selling wood." The king frowned. "That is a poor livelihood for a brave man such as you. If you will accept, I will make you captain of my guard." "I do not expect any reward, Your Majesty," said Ram Sharma earnestly, "but I will be happy to serve you." And so Ram Sharma became captain of the king's guard, and resplendent in his uniform, he was forever hovering in the background, keeping an eagle's eye on the king's welfare. One evening, the king beckoned to Ram Sharma. "Recently, there have been complaints of terrible moans coming from the old graveyard at the back of the palace." "I too have heard these moans, Your Majesty," said Ram Sharma. "I will go at once and investigate." The king held up his hand. "Not so fast, my friend. No one has dared to go inside that graveyard for many years. There is a ruined temple there, and it is said that anyone who enters never comes out alive." "1 a.m., not afraid," replied Ram Sharma with a smile, and saying that, he strode off in the direction of the graveyard. The king watched him go, and then decided to follow, thinking, Ram Sharma was certainly a brave man, but should he encounter any danger in the graveyard, one will be close by to lend him assistance. Meanwhile, Ram Sharma walked boldly into the graveyard, which was overgrown with huge trees, festooned with creepers, and was a dark and forbidding place. Now the moans were much louder, as though someone was in terrible agony. Peering around, Ram Sharma could make out the figure of an old woman sitting on the ground, her face covered by her hands, and as she rocked to and fro, her shuddering body let out these dreadful moans. "What ails you, my good woman?" said Ram Sharma, coming closer. "I am the captain of the king's guard, and have been sent here to help you." The old woman looked up at him and shook her head. "There is nothing you can do. I am the ruling deity of the kingdom, and I am in anguish, for within a week the good King Gokhale will meet a terrible death." Ram Sharma was horrified. "Surely something can be done to save the king?" "There is but one way," replied the deity. "In the graveyard stands the ruined temple of the goddess Kali. If a young boy is sacrificed to her, only then will the king live." Ram Sharma was horrified. Who would willingly sacrifice their son so that the king may live? There was only one answer. It would have to be his own son, who he loved so dearly. As Ram Sharma walked blindly toward the palace, he little realized that the king, hiding behind a tree, had overheard all that had been said. Entering his house, Ram Sharma dare not waken his wife and tell her the ghastly ritual he had to perform, but tearfully picking up the sleeping body of his son, he wrapped him in a blanket and carried him to the temple of the goddess Kali. Inside the ruined temple, Ram Sharma could make out a stone platform standing in front of a shrine. Here, he thought gloomily, countless sacrifices had been made through the years, and now my own son must die to save another. Laying his son gently down on the stone platform, Ram Sharma drew his sword and, reciting a hymn in praise of the goddess, raised his sword. But before he could plunge the blade into his son's body, his wrist was grasped firmly. Turning round, Ram Sharma was astounded to find himself confronted by the shining form of the goddess Kali. The goddess smiled and spoke in a gentle voice. To be willing to sacrifice your own son in order to save the life of your king was a noble gesture. Take your son and go home happy that I have decreed your king will live a full life. With that, the goddess vanished, and Ram Sharma, overcome with joy, clutched his son to him and hurried out of the temple, muttering prayers of thanks. As his footsteps grew fainter in the distance, the king emerged from behind a pillar and, obsessed with his thoughts, quietly left the temple. The following morning, the king sent for Ram Sharma and asked him if he had discovered who was responsible for all that moaning in the old graveyard. "It was of no importance, Your Majesty," said Ram Sharma with rare simplicity. "I found an old woman in the graveyard who was bewailing the loss of a loved one. I managed to console her and sent her home." "I am glad to know it was only a woman moaning in her distress," exclaimed the king with a trace of a smile. Then, as Ram Sharma turned to leave, the king added as an afterthought, "I was about to stop the sacrifice when the goddess appeared. Your loyalty and devotion moves me with pride, and from now you will be one of my ministers in council, and above all, my trusted friend." True loyalty and selfless devotion, even at great personal cost, are ultimately rewarded, and such sacrifice protects both the king and the family.